I'd have, like, huge-ass fucking holes, so I'd be like, cut.
Okay. Yeah, we're totally rolling now. I might leave that part in. That was pretty funny.
About the booty shorts?
Yeah, about Chantel's booty
Booty,
shorts.
booty, rocking in the world.
I'm actually, like, not surprised that she did have her own booty shorts as a kid, because it's really... It hasn't changed from now.
I made a pair of pants that were, like, they're jeans to, like, the knee, and then I had, like, splash pants sewn on to the bottom part, so it was, like, tight to baggy, all, like, cool. Like, they used to be my favorite pants in the world.
Like tight jeans to parachute pants.
Yeah, they used to be my favorite pants in the world. I made them by myself.
You were just a trendsetter from the beginning, weren't you?
I tried.
Yeah.
So that's
I'd always get made. I'd get made fun of for it, but I loved them so much I didn't care.
You deserve to be made fun of for those pants.
You don't even know. They were awesome. You would have been jealous that you didn't have a pair.
Yes, you're probably... No, I would not have been jealous.
I got, like, the ideas from, like, Spice Girls or something. I don't know. I can't even remember.
Oh, there's no topping that. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to another Otaku Crypt podcast. I am your host, Joshy T, and I am joined today by two of my dear friends and fashion pioneers, as you heard. I am joined today by wonderful cosplayer and model and craftsperson, and the person who I owe most of my cosplay connections to, Shantel Knight, a.k.a. Zombie Bit Me. Hey. And as I was... saying before we recorded this podcast, basically the person who is the shorter, quieter, more successful with the ladies, but still just friends with them, Mr. Spider Dan Perry.
And that is actually true. I am a lot better with the ladies than Josh. So,
I believe that my hype it's the thin man thing. Like, I'm just creepy as a result of my stature.
It's the height mixed with like the hair. I think that the hair of you does it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I cannot turn off my nerd to have a normal conversation.
No, you nerd very well, but you don't human well. Although I have a story about me not humaning well. Yeah. Which I'll tell you guys during the course of the podcast. It's a Kastucon story. It's actually it's a good one.
By all means, we're definitely going to get to that because we have some fun stuff to talk about because we have kind of two different convention perspectives going on. Chantel's recently back from the West Coast for it was a gaming convention, correct? Yes. And Mr. Dan Perry there is fresh back from Kastucon, which I couldn't believe how many of our the local Canadian cosplayers actually went to. It was like mass exodus to Maryland. It was crazy.
Last year for Kastucon, I think really just, Vicky went, for example.
Yeah.
And then this year it was like, I went, and Pureblind went, and just like, I'm name dropping now. But like, a lot of the GTA cosplayers that we all know and love were all there. So it was like, everybody was there. It was like, Kastucon 2015 was the year for Canadian cosplayers.
It was the Canadian invasion. It was to the point where it was like, it felt like you should have been there despite it being an international trip.
Yeah, it was definitely like just, seeing everybody at FrostCon again. But it was like, oh, hey, we're all sharing this experience together. Yeah. And that was probably one of the best parts about Kastucon was getting to share it with everybody.
Yeah. So, I think we'll just we'll start off with kind of the general introductions, even though I know Chantel hates these because she's done them in interviews so many times.
I never know what to say.
You basically...
I don't like talking about myself.
No, I'm not
let me answer for you.
Okay.
I'm not even going to ask for your history because, if people like you, they're going to find you out.
Yeah.
But... It's actually more funny now, not to even ask you these generic cosplay questions, but let's talk about the fact that you are so used to the cookie cutter things, you actually copy and paste your answers to interviews.
I think there's a few of us who did that.
How long has that been going on? Because
well,
I know it's bad.
I was doing it a bit, and then I decided that I'm just not going to be doing interviews anymore, which I posted, and a lot of people got really mad about it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, I mean, there's already so many of the same ones out there, you can just look it up, and it's not me trying to be vain or anything. It's just repetitive, and I feel like I have other things I should be doing.
How dare you have your own opinion about that?
I know. People got so angry.
You're a terrible
person. It's just like, well, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just don't want to do this.
I know. I think that's part of the some of the misconceptions about you. Like, people do just think you're eye candy sometimes.
Sometimes. Whatever. They can think what they want about me, but what I do is, it's what I do.
Yeah.
That's also her selling model until people find out that she's the brains behind everything.
It's a real bait and switch, and I'm so proud of her.
It's actually wonderful. Like, I'll get asked at conventions all the time, people will ask me about booking you for conventions, and it's just like, hey man, I'm just selling this stuff. She's the eye candy, but she's her own business. Like, it's always a good experience seeing people get shocked when they find out that not only, are you this talented cosplayer, but you have a good brain and a good head on your shoulders too. So you're not just eye candy, but you do manage all of your own business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you do realize this is a nerd girl thing. Like, we were smart first, and then like puberty was kind to them. Like that's how this pretty much went, people.
I can't say I'm the smartest of the bunch, but I have like my passion for art. So I mean, I learned how to end up branding myself and just like turning it into a business.
Just a side note, not literally branding, because that would hurt. So kids, if you do want to start your own business, you don't have to literally brand yourself to figure it out.
That was the next thing I was going to do to you.
She's still being a wuss about getting some tattoos, so...
It's not that I'm scared.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine her trying to brand herself, though?
No. Ouch. Again, that's what I have you for.
It's true.
Dan, can you go heat up the poker, please? It's time for Brandon.
Well, I was going to do it, to him. On his ass.
Yeah.
In that like great serif font that your logo is, right?
Yes.
It's very pretty, very pretty.
It's actually Futura.
A Futura? Okay, very nice. Can send me the TTF.
Actually, I might have changed it in my new one. I can't remember.
Nice. Send me the TTF later. I want that font. Typography nerds. Anyway, so yeah, let's. I know Dan's just dying to tell so many of the stories. He's been holding back all day, and I'm very excited to be hearing them for the first time too. So let's just get right to Kastucon chat, because so it is in Maryland, correct?
Yes, it's kind of it. It's really weird, the geography of the U.S. So basically, Maryland's kind of split. Where in Maryland, it's like right on the border of Maryland and Washington.
Yep.
So it's in. If you look at like the Google Maps and like the Kastucon website, it's in what they call National Harbor, Maryland. But there is no, like on the GPS I was using, for example, there is no National Harbor, Maryland. I had to look it up by zip code to get the directions. So it's an interesting spot. That being said, the location is absolutely breathtaking. The hotel itself, it's if you ever get the chance to go to the Gaylord Resort, please do. The entire back, so the hotel itself backs onto the lake. So you've got this great view.
Yeah.
The entire back wall is like, it's glass and windows.
Yes.
So, we got lucky with the weather because when it was like minus 45 here, it was like maybe minus 10 there. It wasn't actually that bad. So I was outside with my sleeves rolled up getting pictures taken, and I wasn't terribly cold.
We're frozen in carbonite, and you're up there rolling your sleeves. I hated you so much.
It was wonderful. And just like the way that the sun would hit when it was highest through all the windows, it was really, really great. And just like, man, you honestly could go to Kastucon and not once step in the dealer's room and just hang out by Gazebo Senpai and just see all of the cosplayers.
Yeah. So while we're on that note, let's talk about what's the deal with the gazebo. Like it's like a meme almost.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, the gazebo, it's like a landmark in this in the hotel. And I guess in Kastucon history, it was like the drawing feature, because most hotels are fairly standard with their convention centers, right? Yeah. So to have this gazebo inside the middle of the hotel, it's like a focal point.
Oh yeah.
And it's a great congregation space. It just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like unless you go and see Gazebo Senpai, it's one of those things you can't explain, but it actually is really cool.
So it's not a thing that's outside. It's actually like something in the middle of the hotel structure.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's like so there's the main floor of the hotel with the lobby, and then there's like a secondary lobby floor with gazebo on it.
Nice. So clearly you like had a great time there, and lots of our friends were there. In addition to you, got to see a lot of people. You did a gender bend of Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite.
I did. That went over really well. I was surprised. I guess not surprised that it went over well, but surprised that a lot of people knew what I was doing. Like I got a lot of high fives, and a couple people stopped me for pictures. So that was that's always a new experience for me because I'm either not in costume or I'm behind the booth. And I had a hell of a time like trying to figure out what I was going to do at Kastucon because I don't usually have free time at conventions. Either I'm selling her things or I'm getting smoothies.
Yeah. For those who don't know, generally at conventions, Dan is Chantel's handler and booth attendee.
Booth babe.
Booth babe. That's right. That's right. Yes. He just kind of like leans over her prints and just blinks those big old eyelashes and product moves. So
yeah, we have a good
system.
A good system. She lures the guys over, and I tell them to spend money.
This sounds like kind of like stories I've heard about like Nigerian guys hustling you into clubs in Harajuku. Like,
it's pretty much the same.
Sounds like the same technique.
Yeah. All right,
yeah.
Sure.
Mostly with the toothless costume because the tail wag is adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were having this discussion earlier. It was a WTF where I posted 4 seconds of her just like twerking with the toothless tail.
Yeah.
And like overnight that got 7,000 views. I'm like, of all the videos that I put a lot of effort into making, like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Where that has no effort at all.
Whereas literally, I basically posted a GIF and got like twice the views I've ever had on anything. Like, I was like, oh.
People like the booty.
It's true. People
it's
love
like,
the booty.
Why do I bother? I should just post pictures of Shantel shaking her ass. And then I'm like, oh, wait, that's my friend, and I'm a decent human being.
And then you feel like a terrible person.
They're like having that thought. I immediately like, oh, that's right. That was terrible.
But it's awesome.
But it was
I
awesome.
got a kick out of it myself,
it was laughs for us, but I like at the same time it was like, oh, right, that's the world we live in. But so in addition, to just being at Kastucon, you had some interesting roommates. I'm super impressed that these were your roommates. Like, I didn't know you were in tight with these people. So, like, how did that even happen?
There were actually some roommate shenanigans, and I like the term shenanigans because it was just there were some shenanigans. When we first got the room together and we first planned it, it was myself, Trillian Z cosplay. She's a local Hamilton cosplayer. Her boyfriend and Gina Red Ribbon cosplay. Mm-hmm. And Shantel had thought about coming, and then Shantel dropped out because it was Valentine's Day. Ooh.
I regret this choice.
You will most likely regret this choice in the future.
And then
Gina had to do a full body paint on somebody the Saturday of Kastucon. So rather than having her stay with us, get up ridiculously early to go to the other hotel where her friend was to do the paint, to come back, to then get ready. It was just easier that way. So then we switched out roommates once or twice, and then towards the end, we had Olivia Zatlier from Toronto cosplayer helping us out. And then, she got a better deal at another room, and it is what it is. It's a lot of money to travel to Kastucon. So there's really, there's no hard feelings about it. And then she hooked us up with Nathan DeLuca and Sony Erlin, and I guess their room had been canceled by the hotel, and they weren't the only ones. Apparently there were quite a few people whose rooms got canceled. So you know what? Everybody just made the most out of a tough situation, and we got some cool new friends out of the deal, and it was actually an awesome weekend of just like. I actually had to try really hard not to fanboy over too much over Nathan.
I know. Like I met him at FrostCon for a second, and it was like a moment where he just walked up and started talking to Vicky and Patrick, and I'm just like, I'm just standing there, and he's just there chatting like, that's Nathan DeLuca. He makes the sweetest armor. Like, that's Nathan DeLuca.
Yeah, but they're all friends.
I know, like that, and that's the thing that like. Despite like being around this scene for going on 13 years, I am such an old man.
It's true, you are.
Oh, it's bad. And I don't understand how I'm surprised every time that like, oh right, we're just nerd people. We instantly bond. Like if you're not a creep, you're probably going to instantly bond with people because you all like the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So it was so Sarah, Jesse, her boyfriend, and myself, we were all kind of just like we were happy that we got new roommates because it financially it made sense, but we were happier that our roommates were friends with some of our friends, so it's not like we had randoms in the room. You know what I mean?
Kids never do randoms.
Yeah,
bad things
guys,
happen.
don't do randoms for hotel rooms. So it was kind of cool, and we just like I said, we made the most out of it, and it was a cool time. I got to learn a lot from Nathan about just the basics of armor, and Sony was actually really cool. Sony was a good time. So it was
that is where most of my jealousy is stemming from. Sony is just I haven't met her, so all I have to go on is she is gorgeous.
She's a doll. She's so nice.
Yeah.
She is just gorgeous. She has one of the most amazing Star Sapphire cosplays I've ever seen. That's my favorite of hers. And, so just, amazingly talented. And I'm always delighted to hear that, people are awesome in real life on top of everything else. And so that's great to hear from you that she's cool, too.
And, there was some stuff that we all kind of talked about, general, Comic-Con fandom stuff. All of which I am not allowed to repeat. Really, not because I don't want to, but because I like being a jackass, and I don't want to tell you guys some of the stuff that we joked about.
Well, it wouldn't make sense
man.
anyways, because it's your guys' jokes.
Yeah,
See
not
if I
even
invite you back on this podcast.
not even
geez.
inside jokes, but just you look at someone like Nathan or Sony, and you don't expect you expect them to be into some of the stuff at cons, but you don't expect them to be as into it as as somebody else. So it was actually just really cool that these people are cos famous. I'm using air quotes. You guys can't see.
That is my favorite. That is one of my favorite made up terms right now.
It's a great made up term.
Some people really hate that though.
It's really bad.
It
to me.
Olivia was. I think it was Olivia. She was pretty angry that people were calling her that.
Yeah, and it's just cool. At the end of the day, like you said, Josh, we're all a bunch of nerds. We're all at the conventions for the same reason. And it's inspiring and humbling at the same time to see these people who, basically make their living doing this. And, just being able to hang out and just shoot the shit. And it was actually a great time. So hopefully if we can do Kastucon 2016, we've got roomies planned. So
yeah, I'm coming this time.
Right on. Right. Oh yeah, you got to go next time.
We'll put you in the trunk.
Okay.
So, I don't know if I'll ever be able to make it out to one of the. I hope so, but I'm kind of Canadian focused, but at the same time, it would just be fun.
At Kastucon, it wasn't more expensive than going to Anime North.
Yeah.
The pain in the ass was the 8-hour drive. But when you look at it, the hotel was basically the same price. The pre-reg tickets were the same price. Pre-reg line was the same god awful wait. So it's not like going to something like PAX East or Dragon Con or anything like that. But when you tell people you're going to Kastucon, it's got such a huge draw, just because of where it is. And I think that kind of goes back to talking about the gazebo earlier. Kastucon is in such a great location, and they were saying that this year it was overpacked and it was just too full. But, we're all used to Canadian cons like Fan Expo. Fan Expo is full. You can't, you're grabbing ass at Fan Expo whether you want to or not. Kastucon, the only time where it was kind of packed, that I saw anyway, was on the gazebo level during the days, when it was busiest. But the dealer's room wasn't too packed. You could move around. You had full range of motion. You could stop and look at a booth. It was
basically nothing phases me after certain fan expos we've been to. I'm basically, I think I've finally drawn the line in the sand and said, if I'm doing fan expo ever again, I'm only doing Sundays because that's the only day you can actually move around. And the thing with fan expo is the fact that its biggest draw is panels, but good freaking luck getting into one.
Yeah, and
right.
It's tough when you want to go to a panel at a convention, but you have to line up 2 hours in advance.
Yeah.
And that's just it's why bother? I don't, I'll do panels at smaller conventions like Con Bravo and Hamilton, for example. I'll do panels. I host panels at them. It's just, I don't know. Smaller convention panels I find are a lot better than bigger convention panels. And that's just me not wanting to wait in line.
Unless you're the panelist, then you want a big turnout.
Yeah.
I saw at FrostCon they were actually starting to do some different ones Purpline Cosplay and Beck's Cosplay Wonderland. They were hosting. It was an interactive panel. It was a Danganronpa themed murder mystery thing.
I heard about that. I wanted to go to that, but I was at the booth.
Yeah, so. I recorded the podcast with Purple and Rebecca Tree just before they went off to that, and like I kind of want to get her back on just to tell me like what that panel was like, because that sounds like so much fun. Like you're not going just to hear somebody talk, or actually going to play a game, and that sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah, interactive panels are always they're always a little bit more exciting. But I went to a panel at Hamilton Comic-Con in October of last year, and it was like a cosplay 101 with Nicole Marie Jean and Destiny Nicholson. And it very quickly went from, getting tips and stuff on how to work with Worbla and foam and things like that to what's it like cosplaying with your best friend? What's the hardest costume you worked on? What's your favorite costume you worked on? So it became quickly a Q&A.
Shantel is tuning out so quickly. These are her copy paste questions coming up.
And it was one of those things where it's just like, if you go to the panel to actually try and get like good lessons, you can't do it, because now it's like, these people are getting interviewed. You can find that stuff on their Facebook page. So I don't know. The panels need to be run. They need moderators, I think. If you're going to do like a cosplay 101 panel or any kind of, like a Q&A driven panel, you need a moderator to kind of keep the focus on the topic and not let it deviate to like, tell me about your life. How do you deal with con creepers?
Like the one I'm talking to right now.
Yeah, Chantel's a creep. I agree with you.
I'm such a big creeper.
Oh man, you're the worst. But so glad to hear you had so much fun at Kastucon, like despite shenanigans, as you like to say.
Yes, probably my favorite Kastucon story, and this is another name drop. I'm really sorry.
Stop that.
We had terrible Wi-Fi at the hotel because there was like, everybody was trying to get on it, right? I got really excited when I went to Kastucon because I knew among all the big named cosplayers who were going to be there, Stella Chu was going, and she had given me some help on making boot covers for a Spider-Man costume that I worked on, and so I really wanted to meet her just so I could thank her for the advice that she gave me. And I'd hoped to bump into her all weekend, and there were so many people, I probably passed her like dozens of times and not noticed. So I saw her tweet on the last day that she was there that she was just spending like her last hour, down by the gazebo to meet anybody if they wanted to. So I had just woken up and saw the tweet like 15 minutes after it had been posted, and like I went down there as fast as I could, basically. I couldn't find her. I was, trying to find her in the crowd and stuff. And I thought that I'd missed her, so I was taking the elevator back up, and we were on the 14th floor. And at about the 10th floor, I just happened to look out the window, and don't I see her standing by the gazebo? And
Stop! Go back!
Yeah,
go back!
And she'd been tweeting me, but I wasn't getting them because the Wi-Fi again was spotty. So I got off the elevator at the 10th floor and ran down the stairs. Because I felt bad. Like, she was waiting to, part of her still waiting there was to meet me. At least that's how I'm thinking of it. So I didn't,
in my mind, she's there to meet you, and you're going down the stairs to a montage set to "That's the Power of Love."
It was more like Final Countdown. So I'm like, I don't run, guys. So I'm running down these stairs. I got lost because like, when you get to a certain floor, you have to go down like a corridor, and then there's more stairs, and it was so confusing. So by the time I got to her and her little group of people, I was completely out of breath. So I was just like, I kind of just stood there for a second, awkwardly catching my breath. And then when I finally told her who I was, the line that I used when I got my picture with her was, "I'm sorry, I'm not human right now. I usually human better than this." And it was, she was so sweet and just a total blast to meet.
So you were joshing while you were doing that.
I had a Josh moment.
There we go.
So
you had a Joshy moment.
Yeah,
we'll try to talk to Stella Chu.
Yeah.
Let's make this a thing. Let's make my name synonymous with acting too much like a nerd.
You know what? That'll be a thing. It'll catch on quick.
Hashtag joshing.
Yes. So that's probably my favorite. My favorite Katsu story was because, it's not often that we get to meet the people that we look up to and who give us, inspiration and stuff. So it was really cool.
So, okay, if we ever get the chance, like, if ever she's just around, I totally want to, like, recreate that moment of you just, like, dashing downstairs, but I want to set it to, like, Heat of the Moment by Asia, like, the whole time. I never meant to be so bad to you, as you're dashing downstairs.
That would actually be hilarious.
And then, like, the final bit of it is you just, like, get to the landing and you're just... And then you look up and smile, and she smiles. Credits.
Yeah, and it's, I'm such a derp half the time. Like, I don't introduce myself as Dan at conventions. It's always Spider-Dan. It's just, it is what it is, right?
Sounds good. It's got a good,
and
it's got good rhythm.
It was kind of funny when I told her that I was Spider-Dan. She got a laugh, and she said that, she didn't recognize me out of cosplay.
Yeah.
And, that, to me, like, that was kind of cool, so... yeah, that's my highlight from Katsu was meeting Stella Chu.
Right on. So, that's awesome. So, let's go, over to Shantel, who's been very quiet and playing on her phone like a Shantel do. And so, you were in Vancouver this past week for Kastucon, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so how did you, of your many convention invites, how did this one come about?
Well, it's the second time I've been there. The first one, my sponsor brought me there, and it went pretty good last year. It was smaller, but I feel like it went better last year than it did this year. It was in 2 buildings this year, and I feel like everyone was kind of a little confused on which building had what, because it was dispersed really oddly.
Yeah.
I feel like the cosplayers should have been with, like, the video games because it's all kind of new, and all the board gaming RPG stuff should have been in all together, whereas they had everything all different, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of my favorite cons. It's good. It was nice that they asked me to come back and that they gave me a table, and, I mean, working with some of them, like Evan, he's a super great guy. The cosplay contest went exceptionally well. We had so many people like join for it, and
So you were judging the cosplay contest?
Yes, I was judging a contest, and I also did a panel with the other cosplay ladies. Yeah.
So you had some good company there. Who
I had Andy Ray with me.
Yes.
She's oh my god, I love her. She's like, I just wanted to keep her.
Yeah, I was introduced to her in the from the battle Sailor Scouts. Yeah,
yes. She was also part of the battle Disney princesses.
Yeah, so that's when I first found her, and I've been following ever since. She's cool too.
I also had Luna Crow, and I had Ashley. Oh. Ashley cosplayed. They're both amazing ladies. Their armor skills are amazing. And yeah.
Now, I have a question for you about the cosplay contest, or like the cosplay in general at Kastucon. Did you find a lot of people using LEDs? Like, there was a ton at Katsu who were just using LEDs for the sake of using LEDs.
No, see, Kastucon is very, they're still new to, like, cosplay and video games. Everyone is still very into the board games and RPG stuff. So you'd see a lot of...
So it's the D&D
You'd
crowd.
see a lot of leather work and chainmail and stuff like that. It was very... You didn't see much else.
So it's like LARPers.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
very,
the cosplayer
very
was more
stuff.
like a Ren Fair or LARPer persuasion. That's interesting.
Yes.
But, so, and just kind of curious, because you've been to a couple out there, conventions on the West Coast, is there a different vibe to them, or does it pretty much feel the same as out here?
No, it's definitely a different vibe. Depending on, obviously, where you go, like, Victoria is not that popular. Mm-hmm. But in Vancouver, it's just starting to get there, but I think Vancouver, because it's a huge city, it's much bigger than Victoria, and the one I went to in Edmonton, and I'm sure the same for Calgary, since I've heard it's amazing. Edmonton was absolutely amazing. It's still new, but people are more accepted to it. Like, they just want to see more, so they keep going harder and harder each year, and more people start coming in. Even if they don't know what it is, they still want to support it, so I like seeing that.
Oh, no, I'm surprised at, like, the amount of, like, attention I see about, like, Calgary Expo and everything.
Oh, for sure.
Like, It's relatively new.
Well, a lot of the big name cosplayers
That's what I was about
are
to
out
say.
there as well.
That's what I was about to say. Like, you know, some of the more well-known people are going out there, and they're like making time for it. Not like if they invite me, it's I gotta go.
Well, like Jessica Negri, for instance, she absolutely loves staying out there. She's always out there.
I think like if we tried really hard, we could convert her to being Canadian. She like
probably.
She probably she's one of those ones where it's like she always seems to love it here.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, part of it's got to be henchman props.
Oh,
yes. He just moved there too.
Yeah. So. I'm a little bummed about that because
I know he used to be like down the street.
He was
from
so
me,
close
and
to
now...
us. I wanted to bro down with him. But of course I probably came off a little creepy with him. But I totally would have loved to bro down with Henchman. He's a super cool dude. He's actually the most recent feature on the website.
Yes, he taught me quite a bit about Eva foam.
Yeah,
working with it and everything.
Yeah, which is definitely one of those. We're in this weird time of like cosplay fads almost.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, you know, we still like our Warbler, but we're like sick of it because it's expensive.
I don't like that it's expensive, but I much prefer Warbler.
Yeah,
over
like
any other medium.
I love it too, but it's just you know, I'm trying, you know, more cost-effective waves, but now everybody's like, I just can't get away from people talking about Ava foam, but at the same time they're also say like, you know, it's so amazing, but you need way more. Yeah. Like you need way more specifically tool-wise.
And that's the thing, right? Like cosplay, you know, Warbler got really big in the European cosplay scene, and then it kind of came here. And then people started to use it here, and then went back to Eva foam, and then back to Warbler, and then back to Eva foam. And now, you know, again, I'm going to mention the LEDs. There are two kinds of cosplayers I find who use LEDs. People who use the LEDs as a set piece in the costume that needs it, and then people who put LEDs into a costume just for the sake of it. You know, and I saw a girl at Kastucon who was cosplaying as a mashup of Sailor Moon and life fiber synchronized Senketsu. And she made like, you know, like the scissor blade, but the handle was like the Sailor Moon wand.
Okay.
And then she had LEDs in the blade. The LEDs, I've found anyway, it took away from the costume because it didn't need it. It was just kind of there to like make it sparkle.
The scissor blade doesn't even have.
Right?
It's a
LEDs.
matte red.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was like a matte pink with like rainbowy LEDs. It was really cool to see at night when it was dark in the convention center.
Oh, I bet.
But like, I don't know. It didn't really need it. So I'm fine. You know, it's cool. People want to use LEDs. I'm going to use LEDs for some stuff, but I'm trying to like not fall into that group of being like, oh, I got to use LEDs because that's the big thing now. Mm-hmm. People win convention, like you win contests with LEDs. It's not how I want to do it.
Yeah, I will say like one of the best uses of LEDs I've ever seen was by somebody I met at FrostCon. Look her up, it's Blackwater Cosplay, and she used LEDs in the back of her wig with colored strips over it to have Raggio from Kill la Kill's rainbow hair.
Oh, I saw her.
I've seen
The luminescent rainbow hair. That was the right way to do it.
And she walked into the convention center not giving any fucks, and like shoulders were back, head was up, like she owned the character.
She was
wonderful.
So hard.
Yeah,
I was like,
saw her.
yes, this is a cosplayer right here.
Yeah.
You know what she needed was somebody like in stage blacks walking behind her with like a boombox playing like her theme song.
Yeah. Or like, you know, or the amazing thing to do, it would be great for a Satsuki too, if you had a buddy to carry a spotlight behind you.
Yeah, that would have been
like so you could have that luminescent, like the sun is behind you, like which is one of the amazing things about Kill la Kill. They never explained that. How does she do that?
It's magic is how they do it.
Like apparently this family controls which direction the sun is going.
Yes, yeah, that is Kill la Kill fact. They control the sun.
Yep.
Disclaimer: that is not a fact.
Okay. It's you know it's like those guys aren't Ganax, but they're from Ganax, and if it's Ganax like it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be fucked up. And therefore amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much when I went to Kill la Kill. Like, so I took a hiatus from Anime North for about 5 or 6 years.
Not shame. I totally understand why you would do that.
Yeah. Last year was my first time back to Anime North in a long time because Shantel said, we're going to Anime North. We're doing it. There's no... You're coming.
I go every year. I have to.
And so there was a lot of Kill la Kills. Now, I've never seen Kill la Kill before then. Shantel kept pointing them out to me. And I didn't actually watch Kill la Kill until like months and months later. And when I finally got around to watching it, I had a hard time getting into it. Like the first 4 or 5 episodes, the animation threw me off. It was just so bizarre. But then I really started to like the characters.
Yeah,
and it sucked me in.
Mm-hmm.
That is an anime that I like to call a hyperspeed anime, because it's the pacing of it. It's just go, go, go.
Yeah, it
go.
was paced really well.
Yes, but it's also like those guys are the guys who made that and started Trigger. They came from Gainax, so the guys who worked on Gurren Lagann, which is another show.
Was really good.
That is a show that has like 300 episodes worth of feelings in 24 episodes.
I've never seen it. I watched half of the first episode one night, and I just haven't got around to.
Well, the first episode is like it's kind of a really bad setup to that show, because the whole first episode takes place underground, and that's the only episode that takes place like completely underground like that.
Yeah,
that is not a thing in the show. But I call that the hyperspeed anime because it go, go, go. Like every new episode, there's like a new power or something. And also like the fact that in those shows, they completely throw physics out the window.
Yeah,
like,
you really have to.
Like, of course the little head robot slams into the top of the big head robot and becomes a better robot, right?
Yeah.
Right? And, so those same guys, like, going back to Gainax linealogy, right? It's, they made Evangelion. Like, those same guys made Evangelion, which is, like, so quintessential, but also really fucked up.
Yep. Evangelion, it's one of those shows I never watched it, and then everyone said, if you're going to watch Evangelion, like, you need to be prepared for the feels. And I had just finished watching Doctor Who, so it was kind of like, what feels am I expecting? I was expecting more feels like Doctor Who. Nah, I was confused when I watched Evangelion. That show confused the shit out of me. It was bizarre and awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it's written by a manic depressive, that's why.
Oh, there you go. See, I didn't know that. So
yeah,
that's actually, good to know.
Yeah, Hideki Anno, the writer and creator of that show, was like, deep in depression and in therapy for that, and that's why so much of the themes revolve around psychology, but also, like that. An old friend of mine, we love to say that Hideki Anno is going to troll us on his deathbed, and that he will, he does those bits where he'll like, there's a bit in the movie where Gendo says to Ritsuko, the truth is, and then you see his lips moving, but there's no words, and then you see her shocked, and we never know what he said. And this was supposed to be the finale with all the answers. Mm-hmm. So we maintain that Hideki Anno is going to be on his deathbed and go, oh, by the way, Evangelion, the truth is, boop, and he'll flatline right then.
Well, you know how the movies came about? Basically, after the series ended, people were so upset about how the series itself ended that
it was due to budget cuts.
Yeah, so everything that they wanted and they bitched about, he put in the movies. But then they all bitched about the movies.
No, it was
There's
actually
no pleasing anybody.
It was actually the show got, because the budget got cut right at the end, and they had to come up with that whole thing of like the last 2 episodes take place almost entirely in people's heads. Hideki Anno got death threats over that. So there's a bit in End of Evangelion in one of like the in-head sequences where it's actually just all of his hate mail. Like, just being really meta and breaking.
That's wonderful.
So it's like there are moments in that movie that are super meta and breaking the fourth wall. Like there's that bit where you see all of his hate mail, and then there's another bit that is recording. It's like live action recording of people sitting in the theater waiting to watch the movie. Like, advanced screenings of it that were cut in later. But that's the way that show is, and that one, it didn't really establish that pacing, but it definitely established that studio as the guys who did different stuff. Because that same studio, Gainax, did Fooly Cooly, which basically is the original hyperspeed anime.
Oh.
It is 6 episodes of what's going on? What's going on? Why is it a manga panel? What's going on?
That show is wonderful. I saw it for the first time when I was like 16, and I had no idea what was going on. And
Cooly?
Recently, a couple of years ago, I managed to.
Cooly.
It got re-released on Blu-ray.
Yes.
So I've actually got it. You can see it on the bottom of my shelf there. And I haven't sat down to watch it yet because I know. I know what to expect, and I need to be in the right frame of mind because I'm going to marathon all 6 episodes. And it's not so much as of being able to watch, 3 hours of anime in one sitting, because let's be honest, that's easy. It's chump change.
Oh, so
but it's just the amount of
it's
crazy.
It's fully Cooly. Like, that's all you can say.
It really is. And unless you watch that show, you're not going to understand. So please if you get anything from this podcast, one, Shantel is a great businesswoman who uses booty to sell things. 2, watch Fooly Cooly.
I have it. I haven't watched it yet.
You need to watch it.
Yeah,
I will watch it with you.
It'll change your life.
I'm a really slow reader.
Really
you don't have a dub version?
No, it's subbed. I didn't know there was a dub
There,
version.
the first time
the
first time I saw it was dub. Yeah.
Okay.
The first time I saw it was in dub. I was shown it by my friend Pat, who's on the first podcast. She brought it into Anime Club, and it was, wow.
It's an experience.
Like, okay, that kid kind of has a very phallic-looking bump on his forehead, and then it bursts out and becomes a robot. What is going on?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, that's the first episode, though.
So you're in for a treat, my friend.
All right then.
Oh, that like me telling you that is just like, oh, that's just a thing that happens. That has nothing to do with much.
As a side note, I would love to do a Conti cosplay.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to do Conti from the series or at the end of it. And Josh, you've seen it, so you know what I'm referring to. It would just be so cool.
When the Pirate King stuff happens.
The show is Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Watch the show.
Yeah, so good. It's like basically like if there are like 5 animes I have to tell you to watch, it is Fooly Cooly, Cowboy Bebop, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Eureka 7, just because it's kind of like Evangelion in that it will test you, but also be very enjoyable. And that one's kind of like Eureka 7's kind of like if everything good had happened in Evangelion instead of everything horrible. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you feel good at the end.
If you want to watch a good, bizarre mech anime, watch Big O.
Oh, Big O is... Oh, man. That was... And that was just to finish up my list in case anybody says. Number 5. I would say original Gundam, just because it will show you where anime started.
But not Gundam Wing, like the original first season of
Mobile
Gundam.
Suit Gundam,
yes.
0079. But yes, Big O. Oh my god. I had one of my first anime DVDs, I think. And it might have been Evangelion. One of my Evangelion DVDs, the original. When they did the re-release, the Platinum Edition, it had all these trailers for shows like that. No, it was Bandai property, so it must have been my first Gundam cassette even.
Oh, Bandai.
And they had that thing, and this is when they were really like trying to, they didn't just dub like the dialogue. They had to make everything kind of like ready for a North American audience. So Big O had like a really corny theme song that went Big O, Big O, Big O, Big O.
Yeah, it's my brother's got the DVDs. It's like it's one of the very few animes that he will still watch, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of bizarre anime, because I've been wanting, since we started this conversation, I've been wanting to mention this. So you're a Crunchyroll member.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been watching any of Cute High Earth Defense Club Love, a.k.a. the Magical Boy anime?
I am very much aware of it, and I'm very terrified.
You need to watch this show. It looks
pretty good.
If I could explain it in any way, it's an homage to Sailor Moon, but it's Sailor Moon meets Ouran Host Club.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know if that's a selling point, man.
I love Ouran Host Club.
You need to watch this show. It's wonderful.
I'm working up to it. While we're talking about Crunchyroll, have you played around the fact that they actually have a random watch button now?
I have not.
Yeah, if you log in, there's a dice in the navigation bar. It's like a die, and you can click it to watch a random show.
I'm gonna have to try that. Will it give you a random episode, or a random first episode?
If you're up for it, that could totally be a thing where it could be Spider Dan watches random anime.
I might have to do that.
That could be a great review show if you're up for it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when this podcast is done.
Let's totally make I need to get more people involved with the Otaku Crypt. I would love to let's get you doing that. Spider Dan watches random anime.
That could very well be a thing.
Awesome. So, yeah, well, we're about at the 45-minute mark. So, let's just kind of talk about what the future holds. What is the next plans for everybody? You just planning conventions, Dan, or?
Yeah, I mean, so collectively, as I like to call our team, Spider Zombie. That's our cosplay team. Or Zombie Spider. We haven't really decided on a name.
I don't work that out.
Whatever you want, Dan.
As far as conventions go, I've got stuff booked until June with Shantel, working the booth and doing some super cool cosplays together that are mostly secret. Kind of. One is.
We're actually sitting here working on a super secret cosplay with her.
So-
That was basically the reason we got Shantel.
Yeah.
Basically, like, this was just going to be a podcast with Dan when we planned it, and apparently, like, using our services to help her with super secret cosplay was enough to get Shantel here.
Yeah.
Even though I've been begging you to come on and do this.
It's a give and take, mostly bribe, and she got chocolate covered almonds.
Yeah.
So, I'm just playing some costumes. I have some big projects this year that I want to do. A lot of it revolving around armor. I am for sure doing Renegade Commander Shepard N7 armor. And Undead Pixels, Carly has been giving me some cool tips on how to do like the scars and things like that. So I'm very excited. I'm working on it with a local cosplayer. I've mentioned her a few times, Trillian Z. Sarah and I are both really excited to do our N7 armors together.
Yeah.
And then I've got some stuff to do with Shantel at Niagara Comic Con in June. And I'm finishing my Siren. I debuted it at Unplugged, and I've got some stuff I wanted to finish up. So I'm going to be finishing my Borderlands Siren. And other than that, I have a list of costumes, but with my job the way it is right now, it's not practical for me to like try and tackle all of these expensive costumes and not have the money for it. So I'm kind of just playing it by ear right now, and I'm doing what I can.
Right on, buddy. You're. It's kind of funny where it's like, for the amount of work you put in, it's like on par with most of the people who are like we know, and yet like, guys, I'm gonna make it that you guys need to know Dan. He is great. So we're gonna get Dan more attention through this for sure.
Thank you.
And like, come on, Shantel, you can vouch for that. Like,
I agree.
How much how much of a help has he been over the years?
He's been such a great help, and constantly always like just trying to do whatever he can to make everything easy for me.
Yeah, it's a give and take. Like I tell my friends about this all the time. And for a while when we started, my friends would always say to me, "Dude, like, why don't you date Shantel?" And barring the fact that she has a boyfriend, who Mike's actually a really cool guy.
He is super nice. He's always been way cool to me, despite me bringing a ton of crap into his house all the time.
I would never want to date Shantel, and here's the reason why.
She's your sister now, isn't she?
No, it's not that.
It's not that vibe? I have that with a few people.
We spend so much time together, whether it's talking about costumes, working on costumes, working at conventions together. How much time do I really want to spend with this person without killing her? So at the end of the day, I get to go to conventions, I get to do what I love, I get to see people that I love hanging out with, and then I get to ship her off back home.
It's like grandkids almost.
Yes.
You have fun with them and then send them off to the parents again. Get Shantel all sugared up and on cosplay high, and send her back to the boyfriend.
And part of it is, just like you shouldn't, there's a lot of stuff that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't learn about what you love, for example. Sometimes it can be a very bad experience. I just feel like, if I were dating someone that I cosplayed with and that I worked with at convention so much, it wouldn't be a healthy relationship just having all of that time together. Mm-hmm. It's easier that way. So getting to do all these conventions with Shantel and getting to hang out with people is actually it's fantastic. It's good to get away. So working with her is actually a lot of fun. It's kind of is the bottom line of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
We have a good team. So.
La, 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 la. I wish I had video for that. That was adorable. That was adorable.
There's also the jellyfish. That is very fun.
Yeah.
So. We'll do like an animated GIF of that for the people sometime.
Yes.
We'll post that. So Shantel, you're always crazy busy. Like, I honestly hear you've gone somewhere like the night before, and like. It was like, and I'm always like trying to just have hangouts on the weekends because I really only have my weekends off. And so I'm just like, oh, like Shantel is like the closest friend to me, like distance-wise, because I live out in the freaking boonies. But she's like, oh, Chantel's like my closest friend. I should see if she's free. And then I find out, oh yeah, she's like in Vancouver right now.
Oh man, I have stories about her. So when we first started doing this together, there were times where I would just get a text and it would say, what are you doing next weekend? You need it off. We're going to Toronto. And that was it. There was no, hey, if you're not busy, do you want to come to Toronto? No, it's you need to be there. This is what we're doing.
No remorse from the girl over here.
None.
No.
So, as we've grown as business partners, it's a little bit more of, we have a convention in March, we have a convention in April. Hey Dan, in 2 months, this is where I need you to be. So now it's funny just how it kind of went from, you have a week's notice to you have 2 months notice, but you have to be there.
Yeah.
I need you.
Well, I suppose that's better at least. Like
Marginally.
It's like, wait, am I her bitch? Is that what's going on?
You know what? Sometimes I feel like it. When I have to go get the smoothies or get the Timbits, but you know what? It's a small price to pay to get into the conventions, to get to hang out with her. There was so much that I learned from you at conventions and like while you're making stuff. It's just
I try.
It's a great all around experience. I had a Josh when I met her. And it kind of
joshing.
It kind of just, and I said this when we were.
He brought me a little Spider-Man keychain to my booth.
Yeah, it was kind of adorable. I'm not gonna lie, it was really fucking cute.
I still have it.
Do you?
Yeah, you're probably gonna win. Like, I'm yet to see anybody like top the Spider-Man fandom because you got it inked. So there.
Yes, my Spider-Man tattoo is like my pride and joy.
Yeah. I'm gonna make my Gundam one official soon. I think I'm gonna get a Gundam tattoo next.
You should.
I should really just lock that down.
Yeah.
I have people who get confused when they hear Just Dan. They're just like, who? And it's like, no, Spider Dan. Oh, okay, I know who that is.
I used to say that to people, and they're like, "Who are you talking about?" And I'm like, Spider Dan. Oh.
So that's kind of my thing. So I like that people call me Spider Dan. Like that's how they know me. It's like my stage name.
Yeah.
So.
Whereas mine's kind of funny. Like I go by Joshy T on all this stuff, right? And that's kind of funny because when I was younger, I hated being called Joshy because I thought it was like me being, infantilized, right? And then like I got older and like more chemically balanced because we found out that that's what was wrong when I was younger.
You needed more beer? Is that what it was?
No, I probably should have been medicating like that. Like if I was like smoking weed in high school, I probably would have been way more well liked.
Hashtag don't do drugs.
Hashtag don't do drugs. Hashtag joshing. But now it's just like I'm called Josh T and all this stuff, and I just find it adorable. It's like that's like just turning me into a teddy bear, which I would much rather have as opposed to being tall, creepy guy.
Obviously.
There we go.
Unless you're a tall, creepy bear. You know what? And you mentioned this before we started recording the cast, that you like the tangents, and like we kind of I just took a tangent from talking about like what Shantel and I were doing for conventions.
Are we going to finish the original conversation?
Yeah, I'm going to stop talking for a minute so you can finish up.
Well, yes. No, that's all you. You were talking.
No, it's all good, buddy. This is like this is why this is fun.
This is the podcast.
It's nerd convo, and that's what I want.
Yep.
That's what I like. But Shantel, what is next for you, darling?
What do we have next?
We have MTAC and then Cape.
Well, I don't know if you'd consider this a convention, but Niagara College in Welland is hosting a Fan Expo Day, which is a fan fair, and at night will be the pub night. So, yeah, I get to be at the fan fair doing my thing. I'm going to run host, not run, but the... whatchamacallit?
Cosplay contest?
Well, no, that too, but...
the Smash Brothers tournament.
Yeah, the Smash Bros. Tournament, and at night, yes...
You're hosting that.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So, what day is that again?
It is March 18th, which is a Wednesday.
Yeah, so Wednesday, March 18th at Niagara College, the Welland campus.
Yep.
Yeah.
On Woodlawn Road.
Come in costume.
Come in costume. Come and say hi.
Free.
It's free. I'm actually an alumni of that school, and
Yeah,
I will
too.
say the pub area that they have built is gorgeous. It's like
the food is really good.
the
and they
food
have
is
free
really
food all
good.
day.
It
Oh
is
my
this.
God.
It is this.
Free food?
Yeah.
Score.
It is this gorgeous like amphitheater setup. Like
Yeah.
the seating is all on top of the balcony. It looks over. Like
It's
I was
lovely.
going to that school where renovations were underway. The pub used to be like a separate building.
And there used to be the Black Walnut for us kids who did graphic design.
Exactly. The Web D people were there too. So, it is a gorgeous place. It's actually like a well set up venue to do kind of like a cosplay contest. Like it's actually a stage area. That's going to be a fun time. So Shantel and Dan will be there, and hopefully I will be there as well with my camera being annoying. I don't see how they could bar me from it. Like, I'm just gonna drop the alumni card.
And there's a rumor that Chelsea of Ailes Noir Cosplay Photography might be visiting us.
She'll definitely be there.
So
she's still technically going there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
is it Ailes Noir? Ailes? I never know how to say her name.
I've been saying Ailes.
I just say
and
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Chelsea's going to be there.
She's like,
So-
I really better get her on this podcast soon because now she has been officially name dropped all 4 times.
Has she really?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
They're like, she is the fulcrum upon which we all know each other. It is crazy. Like, but I've
Actually, I ordered pizza a couple weeks ago, and the pizza delivery guy
Did
was
Chelsea
like,
deliver?
no, the pizza delivery guy though, he was talking to me and just a random conversation that we started up while I was paying for it, and he's like, you know, you look familiar. Do you know Chelsea? And I'm like, yes. He's like, I think I've seen pictures of you by her.
That is so.
That's
funny.
actually wonderful.
That is
I'm like,
awesome.
alrighty
So
then.
I'm gonna start bugging her and hopefully get her on this next one because that will not only be great, like talking about, you know, being behind the lens and everything, but man,
And a pizza delivery guy.
she'll have the dirt on me. So
Did you see the pictures that we took at DTAC of me in my Chelsea cosplay?
no.
She had to go to the washroom, or she had to step away for a minute.
Oh, I did see this.
So I was watching her camera.
Yep.
And then when she came back, she was shooting with Beck's Cosplay Wonderland.
Oh.
So I took just a couple, like, for fun pictures, and then they got pictures of me taking pictures of Rebecca, and it was actually kind of hilarious.
So you thought it was your Chelsea costume?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
And I even had, like, the photographer pose. Like, Chelsea's got a signature pose, like her power stance.
Yep.
So I totally did that for the picture, and it was, you know what? Everybody had a good time. So
Is it, you know, the you know, forearms up, that one? The
Yes.
power pose. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like in kind of like a lunge, like
Yes.
you're firmly
Yes.
planted to the ground, and
Yep.
it was
I quite know that one.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, that'll be. Yeah, I'll definitely. I'm gonna bug her. She's got to be the next one. So yeah, March 18th. You said
Yeah,
March
and
18th
then-
at Niagara College. You can come see. Hopefully, all 3 of us will be there.
And then after that, of course, Toronto Comic Con.
Toronto Comic Con. We will all be there.
That's going to be huge, I think.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
tech is going to be wonderful.
I'm literally going to be going home and sending off, like, checking some things, and hopefully I'm gonna be there all weekend in a room. So I'll have. If I have my room, I'll have my podcast set up again, and I'll see if I can do the same thing I did at FrostCon and get like 3 done those nights, because there's going to be a lot of our favorite people
I'm
around.
stressing. I have to get this costume done.
Yes.
Secret costume.
Secret
you
costume.
know, just like when you were freaking out over Toothless, because you and I had many conversations about
I know,
that.
the Fur Fan Expo.
You know what? You're gonna get this done because you're a champ.
But-
So
we're gonna like compile a mix CD for you, and
Yeah.
it's gonna get done.
and like 12 songs will be the final
When are you
countdown.
going to...
12 of
You got to
yeah.
bring the things to my house.
Well, I can
When-
bring- I can-
When's that going to happen?
I can bring the things to your house. Just let me know what you need.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, you know what I need.
Yes.
Things.
Did
So-
you know what I want?
The things that, you know,
You know what I
do the
won't?
thing.
Judy, do the thing.
Oh my god.
Julie, do the thing.
You know, that's 2 of the people we don't have for our Anime North group.
I will
is a
totally-
Julie and a Varric.
I will totally be Varric. Because, like, remember, in the context of any group, I'm the tallest, so,
Yes.
right?
And you're the most absurd. So
Yes, like, how would I not be a great Varric?
The other thing that we would love to have is a Nuktuk. But no one really wants to be the Nuktuk. So that would be
Okay, that totally feels like a Jordan.
which Jordan though? Like my Jordan or
Your Jordan.
my Jordan?
Your
yes.
Jordan? Come on, could you not see him totally wearing the fur booties?
You know, I could see him doing that,
He would
but
wear fur or anything.
Yeah.
it's true. He's doing our he's actually doing a male version of Kuvira.
Nice.
So, yeah, our core group is going to be awesome.
I will talk to some people about maybe being your Varric, okay?
That would be wonderful.
Okay, all
Just-
right.
We're going to have the goal is to have as many Korra cosplayers as we can. We're doing it the Sunday of Anime North, so if you're there and you're looking for us,
Oh, my North's gonna be so
I
bad.
have a huge group for Sunday as well. I'm doing the Shy Guy group, but with
And I've got-
girls.
And I've got a Ruby group going on. We're just like, we're crushing it this year, guys.
yeah, Anime
I-
North is going to be...
I have groups all weekend.
We are just crushing it. I'm proud of us,
you know,
actually.
and that's the fun thing about, knowing so many people on the convention scene. And, with Shantel and I being so busy as, guests at conventions, I keep saying we because we're like a team now.
We are a team.
With like us as a team at conventions, we're always so busy, whether we're at the booth or we're hosting panels or judging contests or doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anime North is a nice break from that, where we have a convention that we don't have to be anywhere.
We just go do our thing.
We just go do our thing. So it's a lot more fun, being able to, consider doing group cosplays and then getting everybody excited about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome. Alrighty, so yeah, we're coming up on that hour now, and that was pretty good. So that was a lot of fun, guys. Yeah. Chantel was a little quiet there, but
Dan does a lot of talking.
I think
that's
really
our business model.
Yes,
I do the talking.
yes. Although I think you're completely in cosplay mode, so you're just thinking about the next thing to do. So I'm not going to blame you in the slightest. I'm going to get you back on here, maybe just you, and we'll have a longer chat.
Not getting it done.
We're going to get it done because Dan and I are going to make sure of it.
Yes.
We can be your hero, baby.
Well, yeah, you guys have cars right now. I do not.
We can.
It's true. So you're just using us for the cars.
Pretty much.
Yep. Dan, we're just enablers.
We really are, but in the best kind of ways. So.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. So that was another Otaku Crypt podcast in general nerdy nonsense form, and I love it. I love it so much.
It's definitely better not having like a format.
Oh, I hate no, never. So again, thank you, Shantel, for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Dan. I think this is like the longest conversation we've ever had. So
because we're both always so busy at conventions.
Yes,
You're shooting things, and I'm telling horny dudes to buy her stuff. So there's not much time. Speaking of,
we just work.
If you go to the Zombie Bit Me shop, it's buy 2 get 1 free on all the prints.
Is Zombie Bit Me now?
No. It's not.
So you can, and so yeah, just the social plugs quick before we wrap this up here. Everybody can find Shantel pretty much under everything is Zombie Bit Me, including the website, which she actually got is zombiebit.me. She got an ME domain, and I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, the website is wonderful that you have that.
Thank you.
And Dan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Spider Dan Cosplay, and due to character limit on Twitter as Spidey D Cosplay.
Very nice. And of course, myself, everything is Otaku Crypt on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And for those of you who haven't seen yet, otakucrypt.com is now live once again with a much better looking design. Basically, I've re-uploaded all the content from just before the start of the new year. I'm doing, there's a feature every Friday. You can find everything, including the podcast, convention videos, feature photo shoots. We're really trying to go like all out on it now, and just trying to do some great work in supporting our amazing Canadian cosplay community. So, everybody, thank you once again for listening to the Otaku Crypt podcast. We will see you next time. See you, Space Cowboy!
Whoop.